Hey people from the tube, welcome back to another bunch of things. Today I'm going to be talking about how I set up my Pro Tools sessions for either recording or for mixing situations. Let's get started. I've seen this happen quite a few times in the last few weeks, so I want to address it. There's no right or wrong way to do it as long as we understand the concept of keeping a session organized. Reason being is I've been called to several different studios lately to help people do some recordings on sessions that are previously there with some tracks already, and they just need some help. So, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I do work remotely as well when it comes to mixing and stuff like that. But in these case scenarios, I found some crazy stuff going on, and I want to address that now. So in the last session that I did a few days ago, I had a major issue. I showed up in the session, which is completely whacked. It was tracks everywhere and disorganized, and it takes some time away from what you're supposed to be doing if I had to go and reorganize the session. Now it seems I'm not there, seems I wasn't the person that created the session, seems I'm not the person that is recording in the sessions originally. I have to come and reorganize everything in a format in a way that makes sense. So some of the time that is being budgeted from this artist is thrown in the garbage, because now I gotta sit down and try to figure out where things are, and it's just a complete jack mess. So I'm gonna go and record my screen on my laptop so I can show you what I found and the ways that me personally, the way that I set up things, and makes it really easy for everybody else in case somebody has to jump into the session. So here we go. I do have a Pro Tools session here. See what else. There's my editing window. So this is the editing window in Pro Tools. Just simple. There's nothing. So let's dump in there some tracks. In this case, the session that I found was 36 tracks by the time that I got there. Let's throw in there click, and let's also throw a master fader, so we can kind of replicate a little bit what was going on. So I'm not using my big system, so I'm using the laptop, so I'm going to be using the trackpad on my laptop, so it might be a little, I might be clicking all over the place here. So just to have an idea, this is what a session on the edit window looks like. Now let's go to the mixing window, and there we have it. So me personally, as I said, there's no right or wrong how you set up this, as long as it makes sense and as long as it's organized. Let's just give some names here, just for top snare, bottom snare, and let's put tone 1, let's throw there a guitar. Alright, so we got that. Here is how I like them. I come from mixing live bands and stuff like that on analog boards, so with the exception I think that it was at the time was Soundcraft and Allen and Heath back late 90s, early 2000s, that had the main and monitor station right in the middle of the board. With the exception of those, most analog boards will have your main and your monitor section towards the right. So that's why I like to keep my master right here on the right. You can dump it on the left if that makes sense to you. But me personally, I like to do it this way for a couple of reasons. One, I got that flow of having my tracks, and then whenever I need to go through my monitor's side of things or main side of things, I will have it on the right. So the first thing is, me personally, when percussive elements are drums, djembes, cajones, etc., I like to start with those when I do my sessions. If you're familiar with live sound checks and stuff like that, mainly you're going to start with your drums. So, and then move forward with that. The session that I found was something like this. We had a session where I had stuff like this, and then I had the master fader somewhere here, and then I had a guitar right next to the kick, and then I have other percussionist elements here, and then I have a voice in the middle there. So everything was just all over the place. There was quite a few overdubs on vocals, and they were all spread out through the entire session. So I had to spend some time putting everything in places so it makes sense to me, and that I could have an even workflow, just so I could work faster. You gotta remember, when you get hired, when you hire somebody to work in one of your sessions in your studio, we're not talking about remotely. Remotely is a different separate stuff. You will send me what they call the stems, and I will create my own session, which I already have. More likely, I already have a template session already set up. All I gotta do is just dump the tracks in there. Regardless, when you hire somebody to go to your studio and do this stuff for you, you're paying for the time on this person to actually come in and start working in the sonic quality of the project. If that's going to be the mixing engineer, he will start just arranging everything. Start throwing, if you need, throw some EQs, plugins. In my case, I have a lot of analog outboard gear, so do the patching and whatever needs to be done. Save yourself some money, save yourself some time, and keep your session organized. The more organized your sessions are, the more that that engineer can jump into what actually you're hiring for. So the second thing why I like to have the sessions like this is because even though that I can just move the session really quickly from one point to point A to point B, I like to do a pass and check what is happening. Do I have all my pannings where it needs to be? Do I have all the tracks that I need to be listening are unmuted, or are they muted because I already added any form of automation, or whatever case might be? That gives me the opportunity to look at it. Sometimes you see it in a session where the automation has been already put in there for whatever reason, and you get there, you see these tracks muted, and you don't know why. So the track is called the shaker. I hear the shaker, maybe the sonic value of the shaker is right spot on. You might need a little bit of touch here, maybe a little dab of compression just to keep it even, or maybe some EQ just to get the frequency narrowed to a particular sweet spot that you're looking for. Regardless of what the point is, I like to do that so I can see what is happening with the session. Also, it is a good way for me, before I start touching or adding anything to my master fader, I have the opportunity to look that everything that I was intended to do for whatever process I'm doing. If I'm recording, whatever I'm doing, all those processes are already done. Or if I through an EQ for just to hear if there was any subtle changes, or simply enough because in that particular studio I just needed to find a way where I can change the phasing of a particular channel. So I'm using a delay or an EQ, whatever that have a plugin that might have that. I want to make sure that the plugin is deactivated, or that if for any reason I need to have it active while I'm recording, I want to make sure that that's happening. So it's a second stage of me checking that the session is going, that all the tracks are going properly. So save yourself some time, save your engineers a little bit of a headache, and just organize your session, set up your session, find a way that works for you, but that is organized and that it actually makes sense. I know that in some times we might have subgroups of certain items where you might already have applied automation to a full drum set for whatever reason, and you have, or a master or an auxiliary, just so you can control what the volume is going to be, or the presence of that, or if you're using a delay or a reverb, so you can control all of that. Just make sure that everything is coherent. As long as it's coherent, then if you're going to pay somebody $40, $50 an hour to go and work on whatever you have there, you want to pay the first hour hands-on on that engineer already working on what you need them to work. You don't want to pay $40 to $50 an hour for an engineer that will come and spend the first hour that is touching your pocket, that is already touching your budget, trying to organize a session that is loaded with more than 30 tracks, trying to make it coherent. You gotta remember that engineer wasn't there when these tracks were recorded, so he doesn't know what any of that is. So when you put a session that is completely disorganized, now you're forcing that guy to go track by track and trying to figure everything out, regardless. Now, if I need to figure out something because I'm gonna be mixing it, then yeah, I'll listen through the whole thing, and I start following on my edit window. I start following what is coming in, what is coming out, and that way I know what I'm hearing is making a correlation to what the name of the track is. But if that's not the case, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, I got a kick, I got a guitar, and I got a bass, and hold on, I got a floor tom here, and then I got two vocals, and then I got a master fader that is not labeled, or an auxiliary track that is not labeled, or I got a guitar that actually was mispatched in the studio, which it happened, and it was recorded as a, it is stated in the session as a guitar, and it was a tambourine. So it is kind of annoying having to go through a session and just having to do all of that before you can prove to your client that hey, you're paying me this much money to come and do this. Let's get at it. Let me show you what I'm capable of. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Thumbs up on this video if you like. Please leave a comment if you want to go into more in depth of Pro Tools and how to create templates and how to create a recording session and what you do and why you do it this way. Yeah, I will be more than happy to start setting up a series of that type of videos. If that's something that interests you, click the notification bell. That way, as the name says, you can be notified that I uploaded a new video, and I'll see you in the next one. Pancho up.